Are you all familiar with the structure of school schedules? School timetable indicates the order in which events will take place. Factors include the subject of the class, days of the week, and the number of periods. Let us use the letter capital D. Set D represents set of days in a week and its corresponding roster form is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. P represents the period number and its corresponding roster form is P1, P2, P3, P4, P5. We must precisely describe the day of the week and the period number in order to correctly identify the matching subject. For example, Monday first period corresponds to what? Max. Mathematically, we can represent this information as Monday P1 within the round bracket max, right? See another example. Wednesday, 5th period corresponds to physics and it can be represented as Wednesday P5 is physics. We can understand this using an arrow diagram. Set D on the left, set P on the right. Monday first period is max, Monday second period is physics and so on. So we can draw 5 arrows from set D to set P. Similarly, we can draw arrows from set D element that is Tuesday to each element in set P. So we get pairs in this manner. Monday P1, Monday P2, Monday P5, Tuesday P1, Tuesday P2, likewise Tuesday P5, Friday P1, so on up to Friday P5. Repeating this format for the remaining days till Friday. Our aim is to write all possible ways in which a subject should be followed on which day and throughout which period. This list is complete as it gives a clear picture of what's happening within the classroom at any particular day and time. Now, you look closely, Monday, P1, it implies the subject to be followed in the class on Monday first period. So, the first entry is the day of the week and the second entry is the period number. Day of the week and the period number are separated by comma and they are enclosed within the round brackets. Let's use lowercase letter D and P to represent day of the week and period number respectively, where D is an element of set D and P is an element of set P. So, every combination of day of the week, period number is called ordered pair. Now, my question is, why do we use round brackets? This is because the order in which we write in the round bracket matters. We have seen what an ordered pair is and how we should write an ordered pair. This complete set of ordered pairs of the days of the week and the period number is nothing but Cartesian product of set D and P. The Cartesian product of two sets D and P is defined as set of all ordered pairs of the elements from sets D and P described within the curly brackets. Cartesian product of set D and P is written as D cross P. Closely observing, this ordered pair is one element. This ordered pair is the second element and so on. Notice that the elements are separated by commas and they are enclosed within the curly brackets. Remember, curly brackets are used to enclose the elements in a set, whereas the order of the element does not matter in a curly set. While the round brackets are used to enclose the elements where the order matters. Now we are in a position to write the Cartesian product D cross P using set builder notation. Here is the notation. D cross P is equal to curly bracket open D comma P in the round bracket such that D is an element of D, P element of set P. Now let's look at each of these ordered pairs to see if this condition is satisfied. Now for each ordered pair D comma P, where day of the week D belongs to set D with the elements Monday, Tuesday up to Friday and the period number P1, P2, P3, P4, P5. Each ordered pair in the set satisfies the condition. As a final illustration, consider two sets. Set T represents the set of teachers TA and TB. Set C represents the set of courses taught by teachers C1, C2, C3. To find the Cartesian product of T cross C, first write all ordered pairs. So the available pairs are TA C1, TA C2, TA C3. Similarly, TB C1, TB C2, TB C3. Product of set T and C is given by T cross C is equal to TA comma C1, TA comma C2, TA comma C3, TB comma C1, TB comma C2, TB comma C3 enclosed within the curly brackets. Right? Note, TA comma C1 is different from C1 comma TA. Why? TA comma C1 means it's an ordered pair in which teacher A teaches the course C1, while C1 comma TA is the incorrect way of telling a teacher teaches a course. So the order in which the elements are paired is very crucial. Now tell me, how many ordered pairs have we got? As you can see, there are 6 pairs in the Cartesian product. How? 2 elements in set 2 and 3 elements in set C. In general, if there are P elements in A, we can write N of A is equal to P. Q elements in B, so we can write N of B is equal to Q. Then there will be PQ elements in A cross P, that is N of A cross B is equal to PQ. This will help us to know the number of elements in A cross B. Right? Chessboard can be considered as a very good example for Cartesian product of sets, where the horizontal row makes one set and the vertical column makes another set. Sets can be represented as H is equal to A, B up to H, V is equal to 1, 2 up to 8. As discussed earlier, we can form Cartesian product of these two sets H and V. Now what about the number of elements in H cross V? We know N of H is equal to 8. N of V is equal to 8. Therefore, N of H cross V is equal to 8 into 8, which makes 64. So, a total of 64 ordered pairs can be formed from this chessboard. Right? So, we have seen how to find the Cartesian product of 2 or 3 sets if the sets are given. Now, what about its converse? Are we able to identify the elements in each set? Let's see one example. If A cross B is equal to ordered pair F comma S, F comma D, M comma S, M comma D, we have to find the individual sets, set A and set B. So, to find the elements in set A, pick all first elements from A cross B. So, we get set A is equal to F comma M. Now, to find set B, pick all the second elements from A cross B. So, we get set B is equal to S comma D. Let's discuss some properties of Cartesian products. The first property, two ordered pairs are equal if and only if the corresponding first and the second elements are equal. Second, if A and B are non-empty sets and either A or B is an infinite set, then so is A cross B. Third one, the Cartesian product A cross A represents the set A cross A, which is represented by ordered pair x comma y such that x and y belongs to set A. This represents the coordinates of all the points in two-dimensional space. The last property, Cartesian product A cross A represents the set A cross A, which is represented by ordered pair xyz, where xyz is an element of A, and this represents the coordinates of all the points in three-dimensional space. Now that we have understood the multiplicative principle of sets, let's see how this principle can be used in creating link between different sets. Now coming to the summary part.
Manorama Horizon, learning made simple.